Thanks to Birendra and Rohit for joining this discussion. Um, so let me start off by, obviously the context here is we are in a context of the pandemic sort of having affected all of our organizations and in some way or the other. So let me start off with, picking the topic of the day. How has the pandemic, altered how data leaders like Birendra and Rohit, how do you approach TCO for data analytics? Has it become more important, less important? What do you do about it, and so on? So let me start off by with Rohit. If you can dive into this topic, how important is TCO for you, and how do you measure it? How do you bake it into your sort of overall sort of scheme of running things?
Sure. Thanks. Hi, everyone. Thanks, Qubole team, for having this webinar. Till now, it has been really interesting listening from a lot of data leaders in the industry. So coming specific to Joy, I think it has impacted us in a significant way, right? I mean, obviously being on the data side of things, TCO is an important aspect, but I think in the last 3 to 4 months, I think it has become the top priority among our OKR system, right? I mean, we follow the OKR system. We have set of OKRs, and one of them is cost reporting. But I think in the last 4 to 5 months, that has become one of the top key results for us to deliver, right? And it has impacted us with respect to, in a multiple scenario, right? We primarily are into media targeting business. We target users, we target domains. For us, if you see, if some of the domains have been impacted, some of the other domains are there which have gained significantly, right? For example, in context of the omni-channel way, right, where you target users based on either their TV-based activity, or you target users based on their motion-based activity. So with the current state of play, obviously a lot of people won't be outside their home. So targeting based on the hyperlocal becomes irrelevant. So we have seen our campaigns going down in that direction. But on the similar side, you see that now, because a lot of people are actually sitting at their home, the possibilities of targeting user on the TV, because the viewability and the viewership has increased. So similarly, the cost that has gone down from the motion or the hyperlocal targeting, clients have been able to shift their revenue and drive it to TV. So I mean, that's the good side of it, that you lose somewhere and then you win somewhere. So I think that way. And I think with respect to measurement, I think measuring our cost at infrastructure and processing was always top priority. I think we were prepared, and especially thanks to Qubole team on releasing the whole cost TCO. I think it actually came touchwood in a very right point of time, where I think we were trying to build the dashboards. I think at a user level, at a product level, we starting to track it, our OKR system well, a lot of alerts, monitoring, real-time systems around that TCO. So yeah, I think measuring level, we have OKR, and then we have now started measuring at a team level, product level, that which particular product on a daily basis are deviating from how much in terms of infrastructure, right? It gives us that levy to go back and start asking questions that product wise we don't have a revenue, but why is the cost increasing or decreasing, right? So I mean to some extent, these are some of the things that's going around, and how we are adopting to it.
Yeah. Rohit, I remember in one of our earlier discussions, you had mentioned that as a company, you have some target ratio of
We do.
cost increase to revenue increase, something like that. Do you feel comfortable sharing that?
Yeah, sure. So as I said, our OKR, right? So the cost key result, actually the statement says that rate of growth of our infra cost should be 2/3 less than the rate of our revenue. So for example, let's say if our revenue for an year is going by say 100%, then our rate of the infrastructure should not cross more than 65%, right? And with respect to cost, the current state of play, we had to actually revise that number. We actually went more aggressive, where it's not only 65, we should not even go beyond our 50 or 60% of the number, right? So that's the OKR that we try and live to. And all the measurements that I was talking about, like on the top line, it actually flows down to that particular key result. All the team also boils down, like their individual cost KRs are also aligned to this particular key result. So yeah, thanks for reminding that, Joy. That's an important one.
Yeah. Virendra, let me turn the question to you. So, we started off with the first part of the question was, has the pandemic changed the importance of cost and so on? Would love to hear your thoughts. I would also maybe request you to go into a little bit more specifics. I mean, I know your team has been working with AWS and Qubole on doing some specific forms of cost management. So it would be wonderful if you could, share some of the activities you have done so that the folks here can learn from that.
Yeah. So hi everybody. I think we are doing very great, and thank for inviting me on the webinar. So I will tell you that actually we don't care about the TCO before COVID-19 situation. So before COVID-19, I think we are growing really well on the part of the how the data platform is growing, and we grow to billion of the event per day process and around a few terabyte of the data coming from the entity, and around 400 people onboarded on our energy system. So everybody is using running that lot of the dashboard, see the data, and we have everything on the lake. I think around 90% of data is generated from the company, even from the payment or from the any BU or even for the offline system. It basically even from the Jira, even from the GitHub or anywhere we have there in the data lake. But problem is there when we started COVID-19, and you know that it impacted most of the company. We are the one of them without that impacted. Our impact little high because we are really in the very peak zone where we are growing very fast, and we have around almost 2x to 3x revenue increment from the last many quarter by quarter, not even for the year. And in that time where we started dropping, so our value is dropped around good percentage, around 30 to 40%, and we will see that where we have to put more effort on the TCO, where Qubole is going to come in the picture. AWS, I think we have almost regularly every week we have a call with the Qubole and other people to find out what we have to do. And now we are recovering fast, but generally that time we find out that how it is important for the finance governance and even for the data governance, especially for the per card payment, how much we spend on the each and every payment. That is going almost double. I will tell you that we started working on the very specific, and we have a OKRA, how it Rohit is told, that is the P0 OKRA for last quarter, and we have to reduce the cost around 30%. And it really the problem that when you are growing almost around 30 to 40%, especially on the data. So data is like we are there somewhere around close to that 500 million of the event per day. We are started processing around 1 billion of the event per day. And we are more onboarded are more 40 to 30 more different DB, which is going to put around 15 billion of the data, 15 billion data per month, around 500 million of the data per day. Around 155 billion data we are processing on the real time on the per day. And people are onboarded because everybody need the information, and there is so many people are onboarded, but we have to go on the 30% down on the TTO part, and our value will increase around 20 to 30%. It very different. But something is helped very well. One thing we started that how we are going to do the optimization of our different cluster. We are running almost 30 to 35 different cluster. We started aggregating the cluster. We talked to AWS, and especially TCO helped a lot from the Qubole. Because we have a visibility that where it's going out. I want to show you some of the thing, if you allow me. So if you see that my team, something like what we did from the last few weeks. So if you see that one thing about, we want to put the more effort about our export unit. And by the way, that board is coming from the Qubole TCO. So if you see that we are somewhere in the 37% and reach up to 70% in the week and week by. And there is a lot of the, and especially there is help from the Qubole and the AWS to make it done. There is two parts. One thing, we have to have a increase the unit of the export. You see that, and increase the utilization of the cluster. If you see that where the 47 to become the 87, and here 37 is become the 70. The two is very important, but you have to understand one thing that I think you cannot do for the each and every cluster, because each and every cluster have a different type of the workload. If you see some of the cluster where we have a 70% about OKRA for the utilization, but some cluster is going for the 99% because there is something like our ML and AI character. When we train the data, character is don't respond, and after that we don't need. But few of the things you see that at low at the 14% because it don't learn 24/7 workload. We really cannot help or we cannot do. So if you see that different type of thing, and if you see the utilization also from the some character it utilized almost 100%. And that all the thing it happened because of TCO feature invented and done by the Qubole. And other thing that we can track that how is the different type of the thing to right. We understand that where we are the expenditure, where we are spending on the PA side, D side, backend, BA, project engineering. We have this type of a tracking. So I think my answer that we are impacted, we are recovering very, very fast. And I think Qubole, it helped a lot, especially to reduce our cost. And I think I'm happy to tell you that in the quarter Q1, whatever goal we have, we well achieved that goal. Thank you.
That's fantastic. I wish I could say the same about Qubole's own engineering costs. So I think in a nutshell, what I'm hearing is transparency into the cost has been a very big factor for you. So you can see the cost transparently, and then you have been able to go deep into individual sort of use cases and clusters and departments and been able to tune that. And I see a lot of focus on the spot instance usage. I think that has been one of the two things you showed us was the spot instance usage and the overall utilization. I think those are the two top level metrics that it seems that you are tracking. That is very helpful. Thank you so much.